a lot of big content creators have pretty much moved on from what I've seen.
Who? I saw Stroud playing the game the other day. What?
I want my items and my character to grow in power all the way up to level 100, not just...
That's dog. This is dog take. This is a guide on how to make the most dog blue system in the universe as fast as possible, guys. That feeling of that super sick item does not exist in Diablo 4. Okay, boys, let's watch this. Let's watch this. What do we got here, boys?
People are done with Diablo 4. There's a million Reddit posts about quitting the game because there's nothing to do. Almost no one on my friends list seems to play Diablo 4 anymore. And a lot of big content creators have pretty much moved on from what I've seen. On my level 100 druid, I can't think of a single...
Who? I saw Shroud playing the game the other day. Shroud. Look, videos, past broadcasts. Shroud, Diablo 4. I mean, who? I mean, all the fucking fake gamers who stopped playing it the second the drops ended. Okay, yeah. But they weren't real gamers in the first place. So they don't even count. So the drop farmers, okay, yeah, the people who stopped playing when the drops ended, yeah, the drop farmers stopped playing it, all right? Let's not get it twisted, all right? But the people, in terms of actual people who are Diablo 4 enjoyers, all right, so let's not get it twisted, all right? So not everyone's quit, all right? The people who weren't really playing the game have quit, okay.
Reason to log in. I mean, I hardly wanted to log in to even make this video, and it's sort of a downer, to be honest.
Okay.
To top it off, the prospect of creating any sort of alternate character seems pointless when we're less than 2 weeks away from making another new character for Season 1. Why don't I...
why not practice? Why not practice for the season launch? Why not fucking learn the class a little bit more? What are you on about? Like, why not just practice and learn and test, experimentation? Yeah, I always do that. That's what I do. That's what I'll do is I'll kind of log in. I'll be like deciding what build I'm looking at playing in the next season or next league. Generally, well, in Diablo 3 there's PTRs, but in PoE there's standard league, and you could log in and check if a certain mechanic and see if it works a certain way. Is this going to function? You know what I'm saying? So you know you can practice. Or things like Uber Lilith.
have anything to do on my druid? Well, it's because I had farmed best in slot gear a long time before ever hitting level 100. My loot grind was over by the time I was level 85, and that is the massive problem.
I die here, perfect best in slot gear. But no, I get what he's saying though. I do get what he's saying. You do, if you are playing solo and you are gaming, certainly, by the time you're at 85, you generally speaking have all the legendaries you want, all the uniques you want, and you have like kind of gear that's got decent rolls. You know, yeah, for sure.
That is plaguing Diablo 4's late game content. I don't know who tested this. I don't know who signed off on the system. I don't know how it got past all the reviews for Diablo 4. I do not know how after years of development, this is what we were left with. Let me show you guys why it's bad. So the power of an item uses a breakpoint system that determines the tier that the potential range of stats can possibly be when they are rolled on an item. The final breakpoint is item power level 725. Basically, any item with a higher eye power level can roll the exact same affix amounts as an eye power 725 item can. So a 725 item and an 845 item could have identical affix rolls on them, which is like the whole part of the system that's broken. The only exception to this rule is that weapon damage increases or the resist on jewelry goes up or the armor value increases. Yeah. Like the very basic stats of the item can go up, but the affix themselves stay the same. 725, 820, doesn't matter. The affixes and the amounts that they can roll.
I think that's fine though. I think if anything, they should have certain affixes that are locked. If anything, they should have certain affixes that are locked behind higher eye level. So like you could have, you know, like 800 plus eye level, like a new thing gets born on the fucking item, like area of effect or something. But you know, you don't want to make it so all items are completely useless below a certain threshold. Otherwise, you're gonna you can't find good gear at like the mid game. Which I feel like you should be able to find some okay gear, right? So it's like, I don't know. I feel like certainly the system could be revised, but there's probably a smarter way of doing it than just making, more tiers. You know, because then all that happens is you should just, instead of like, because this is, how much do you care about gear that has 600 eye level, chat? How much do you care about gear that has 400 eye level? How much do you care about 300 eye level? Or you just obsolete the next, if you add another tier in, all you do is you just obsolete that tier and you just move to the next thing. Whereas I feel like you can just add a bit of complexity by adding, you could add an extra tier, but instead of giving it new breakpoints for rolls, it could unlock certain affixes that aren't on that lower level gear, right?
Are identical. The only exception to this rule apparently is for plus life and plus thorns, which actually do continue to scale with the item power level. Regardless, this kind of makes the whole sacred / ancestral item thing completely worthless, but that's a whole different discussion. To help this make sense, here's an example for you. I have multiple Hunter Zenith rings here. I have a sacred 632 item power level and a sacred 701. As you can see from the roll ranges listed on the items, both could be identical in stats, even though they are 69 item power levels apart. Only the small plus to resistances number is higher on the higher item power version. I also have a 705 sacred version that I upgraded past the final breakpoint of 725 item power level, which now suddenly makes it fit into the ancestral tier of upgrades. I could have done this with the 701 ring as well, which I found at level 58.
Yo, I'm gonna be honest though. I don't think this is the issue with itemization. I think the reason itemization in this game is bad is because it's because of the legendary aspect system, and it's because of the way that the affixes are designed, and also the way that certain damage multipliers are designed. I don't think what makes itemization kind of boring and like not that interesting. Because lots of builds, you don't have to like specifically target a bunch of different shit for a bunch of builds. Generally speaking, if you have like a necklace which has CDR, movement speed, and like +3 to any sort of damage increasing passive, that'll work for like multiple builds. Just like you just get a pair of pants which has DR on it. It just works for every build. Just like if you have, but the TLDR is there's very little difference in gear, which makes itemization super boring, which makes, it's kind of easy to get like a baseline of like 80% perfection gear, which means your like loot grind is over really fast. I don't think it's because of some tier thing. I think it's because itemization in general needs a big overhaul, right?
Past the 725 mark actually re-rolls the entire ring's stats. Now imagine if I got some god rolls. At level 58, I would have managed to get a nearly best-in-slot ring. I don't want this. This shouldn't be possible.
What?
I want my items and my character to grow in power all the way up to level 100, not just...
That's dog shit. This is dog shit take. Yo, this is a dog shit take. Why does he want an obsolete gear? You should be able to find a piece of gear and it should be viable. It should just, there should just be RNG on, like, how good these uniques are, right? There should just be a roll, like, oh shit, I got a perfect Hunter Zenith. Oh shit, this Hunter Zenith is bad. Like I completely disagree. I completely disagree.
Stop dead in its tracks because of some stupid item power mechanic.
No, because all that means is every single thing you get before the 100 is obsolete, which is just cringe and stupid and dumb and it's boring. Like you shouldn't like. I bet you, and I bet you of the other, if what he was describing, I bet you if what the system he's talking about right now, where all gear just scales down the lower it is, and the higher it is, the higher it scales, he would just be complaining that it's a dog shit system, and that he doesn't want that, and he actually wants it the other way around. I almost guarantee you.
Mechanics that they created. There's a reason people are saying they hit a wall, because they literally did. You're rolling on best-in-slot gear in your 50s. Another quick example is these Tempest Roar helmets that I have. I've got 3 of them here, but these 2 of them are both 780 item power, okay? Both of these, 780 item power. You'll notice the armor is identical, because that scales.
Why is he obsessed with item power so much? Why is he I don't understand why he's so obsessed with this. Like, what's his fixation on item power so much? Like, why is he obsessed with? Did he come from a game that? What I'm confused is, did he come from a game where item power was like the #1 thing, and that's all that matters? I don't get it. I don't get it. Is he like a fucking mobile gamer? Like, what's the deal here? He's explaining the system. Well, what I'm saying is like the item power. Why would you want item power to have some fucking cuckold of your item? Like, why would you want that?
Except the one that I found at level 87 is superior to the one that I found at level 95. Why is this? Why are the roll ranges the same? I don't think that the 95 should just automatically be better, but it should have had a higher floor for the stat rolls and a higher ceiling. Like, let's say 10 to 17% for the damage roll shapeshifted affects.
Disagree.
Instead of them both rolling 7 to 14%, I think that...
You think you want this, but you don't. That's like saying, okay, I want every goal room that drops in fucking Act 1 to have, like, fucking 5 auras, okay? And I want, literally I want every fucking Tabasi Rasi. So if I get a Tabasi Rasa that drops at level 1, it's got a 2 link, right? It's got a 2 link. Literally, that's what he's describing right now. No, 100% disagree. I'm not a masochist. If anything, the system I'm describing is like technically an easier version of the game, I think, and it allows for exciting moments to happen where you could get a unique drop that could be your in-game unique at like level 60 or whatever. Right? You could, if you got lucky, you could get like a perfectly rolled Tempest Roar, and then that could be a GG1. Now, chances are you're not going to get it, and I have urged the higher level ones are better, but you could theoretically get that, which puts you in chance for like interesting loot. The reason why loot feels bad in Diablo 4 is because it's because of the eye level mechanic and the way it drops. Is you just see a bunch of loot that's just pretty good. And you get immediately used to that level of loot, and there's not that large discrepancy of like, oh shit, I got this ultra good item. You don't get that, which is why the excitement of looting in this game is not very good. And to be fair, again, I feel like that's because the itemization is bad in terms of the way that the affixes work and the way that the aspect system works. I think itemization is overall needs to be reworked, and they need to move away from all these weird generic conditionals, like, oh, I'm a close damage to slowed enemies, damage to CC enemies build, which is like every character, right? Oh, and I'm vulnerability. So every single item, you're just looking for crit chance, crit damage, vulnerability, and whatever fucking defensive stat, or maybe you want like, just maybe there's like one stat that's like, you want barrier generation for like a Biowak Druid, or you want one other stat. The point is, all the gear is so similar that it makes it boring. And I think that's not because of the eye level system or some threshold shit, and it's just because of how the itemization is designed in such a generic manner.
That the level 95 version should have a higher floor and a higher ceiling. The odds of you getting a better version increase that way. This system should be based off your level, and item power should scale with that, not using this bizarre eye power 820 maximum that they've come up with. Here's the system that I would use. I tried to visualize it so it would make a little more sense. Basically, as you level up, you create a sort of item power bubble. And this bubble would move forward by 10 each time you level up all the way to 1,000 at level 100. This makes not only the base stats of the item better, but it slightly increases the floor and ceiling of the rolls for the affixes, basically what I just described a minute ago. Also, as the item power maximum increases by 10, it drags the back end of the bubble with it. This helps to eliminate another problem, which is getting trash tier items with low item power level when you're.
This would be like the most boring loot system ever, by the way. This is like this is terrible. This is like you think you want this, you think you want some deterministic, or every single piece of loot that will drop in the future will just be good. But all that happens is you just get used to this your hedonistic treadmill adjusts, and this is your new normal, and then it's where you're at. The best type of loot is like you're just getting really kind of average loot, and then something good as fuck drops, and then you get this huge spike and this fucking moment that's exciting. Now, Diablo 4 lacks that, and that's because I feel like it's not because of that they need to change the item power system. I think it's because they need to change the items themselves. I think the items themselves are not compelling enough. Yeah, like the feeling of a really, really nice item dropping, like a T1 unique, or a rare currency that allows you to craft something, so like a divine orb, or whatever in PoE, for example, or just something like that. That feeling of like, holy shit, big dick item, and you know it's big dick, and that's what's lacking. And that's the best system. And the reason why that system's so good is because you get the denial of the reward. You're trying to get the thing, you don't get it. You keep killing stuff, you see stuff drop, you're like, oh shit, it's a leather belt. Your dopamine spikes for a sec, you highlight over it, it's not the rare belt, it's not the thing. But eventually you keep getting denied. Eventually you get that fucking reward, and it feels fucking amazing. Now, if you just constantly get rewarded all the time, because you just got this new bubble system where you're just always getting good rolls that are guaranteed with a certain floor and a certain high end, it'll be cool for like the first day that you hit max level, and then you will adjust to this, and then it will become normal, and then every single piece of loot will feel generic and boring. Okay, that's what will happen.
Already way beyond those. When you're level 100 and you're getting sacred eye power 670 items, you're never going to use them, so why drop them? Here you are at level 1. You can get item power 10. You hit level 2, it goes up to 20, 30, 40, 50. You get it, okay? So right now at level 5, you could get an item that drops between item power 10 and 50.
We get it.
As soon as you hit level 6...
We get it.
The item power 10s will disappear.
How to kill the game as fast as possible. This is a guide on how to make the most dog shit loot system in the universe as fast as possible, guys. This is how to design mobile gaming loot. And then you also need to allow us to pay to win to like only get the highest tier with the highest rolls. So all gear we drop is perfect, right? We also need to add in a paid tier to make the bubble smaller, dude. While you're at it,
the item power 20s will disappear. So it keeps more of the gear relevant to your actual character, and you are feeling like you're unlocking or accessing more powerful items because you are. You can now get something that's better every single time you level up. Now, early game, it's not nearly as much of a problem. No one.
Well, what's happening is just obsoleting everything. You're just obsoleting more of the game, and you're just making everything pointless up until a certain threshold, and you're just making that threshold higher. That's all that's happening.
Really cares. It's this section in here, the last 4 rows, where it really starts to hurt. Let's just put it at level 100. You know, this bar, you can change, I guess, and modify the bubble. You know, you could make it extend 10 levels, 15 levels, whatever you decide is balanced, or whatever, I guess, the developers decide. Items go up to 1,000.
So that means every 10 levels, dude, you have to just refarm all your gear again. Oh, gee whiz, what a great assistant, bro. What great. It's not. This is like what people think they want as well. This is crazy. People always think, oh, I just want all my loot to just drop deterministically, and I can just farm it out, and there's absolutely no RNG. And I just farm out a token, and I go to a vendor, and I buy it from a vendor, and I just guaranteed if I grind a certain amount, I get the full set, and that's it. That's what people think they want, right? This is this logic of people think they want this, when the reality is RNGs are like RNG is the basis of what makes loot feel good in these types of games. It's the denial of getting the thing you want, and then eventually getting that thing, and then having a fucking, just basically coming, metaphorically speaking, inside the computer game, right?
There's 100 levels, multiply it by 10, ta-da, it's easy. But you could make the bubble go back 5 levels, 10 levels, whatever. But at level 100, I probably...
Okay, if I'm a masochist, no, everyone's a masochist. This is literally fundamental design of loot and games. Okay, guys, watch. You want to hear some D2 Andy's talk about it? David Diablo 2. What's his name? What's that guy called? Brivik.
So the loot lottery is kind of a system by which random items are generated. And the best analogy is it's a slot machine. Every time you kill a monster, you put a quarter into the slot machine and you pull the lever, and out can come nothing. You get your quarter back. You could do pretty well, or you could hit a jackpot. And so if you can think of pulling the lever as every time you kill a monster, it's got kind of this addictive quality. Just as slot machines are addictive, so is the I am going to maybe win something big here. It was kind of loosely based on the system that came from kind of Moria, Angband, Umoria, those kind of style games. They had random item generation, but not to the same extent that we were going to be doing it in Diablo. Luckily, this was a really fun part of the game for a lot of us, and so we didn't mind.
I think a lot of people actually, for ARPGs, it's the best part of the game. This is the reason they actually like it's the loot grind. It's the loot farm. It's that spike you get of getting that fucking giga rare item. Okay, that is literally it.
Working on this part, it meant that we got to play the game and get cool stuff.
And guess what happens though? If you do a system like this, that whole feeling is you're just throwing it out the window. You're throwing it out the window, again. This is not the reason why I think loot is bad in this game. I think the itemization in this game is just bad. The lack of interesting, compelling items that are far and few between, but make your character sick as fuck, it just don't exist. You just kind of get it's very easy to get Necklace, which has CDR and +3 stats with life. You don't get there's that feeling of that super sick item does not exist in Diablo 4. It literally, maybe on a druid when you get your first Tempest Roar, that's the closest thing I've had to a loot high, where I was like, whoa, wow, I got a Tempest Roar. And then I was like, oh, cool. Because then I got 5 more of them, and then, whatever. And that's the closest thing. That is the closest thing I had to the... But that is not due to fucking item power shit. It's not because I need to make item power, they need to just obsolete more gear and make the item power bracket even tighter. No, that would just make it worse. That would just obsolete even more gear. That just means up until this point, all gear is irrelevant until the point you hit this, whatever the fuck this bubble is, which does not fix anything. It's the generic items that are just not compelling. You can always get a pretty good necklace. You can always get pretty good pants. There's no insane GG stuff that drops where you're like, holy fuck. And then the few items that they have, which are kind of like that, okay, which you are the ultra rare uniques, they basically don't exist for the average player. So then you can't even use it as an argument, by the way, chat, just to be clear.
probably only want to see items in the range of level 900.
And I'm saying uniques, by the way. I'm saying itemization in general. I'm saying they need to get rid of this generic dog shit itemization they currently have in the game. All this generic damage, damage reduction, all this generic like conditional damage increase. You need to have specific gear that's good for specific builds that is far and few between, but when you get it, it's really impactful for your build. The closest thing they have to this in Diablo 4, in my opinion, would actually be items with like +4 to particular skills. Then it's like, oh wow, I got +4 to a particular skill. You know, I think the closest thing I felt to that feeling of like I got a really good item for my build that kind of got me like would be, if we ignore the Tempest Roar, I would say gloves with like +4 to your main skill, and then with like crit and lucky hit or something, you know, and then it's like, oh, I got a pretty good item here.
To 1,000. So this kind of solves that problem, right? We don't have to worry about getting these items over here when we're all the way over here. And also we can't get these powerful items here when we're over here. I don't want a perfect rolled level 100 item at level 66.
So what would this guy would this guy have a mental breakdown if I said like, dude, I don't even think people should hit level 100? Would he have a mental breakdown if I said that? I think hitting level 100 in this game is fucking stupid, and the end game should begin at level 90, and then level 100 should be exponentially harder, like exponentially harder. Right? That's what I think it should be. It should be this thing where the end game begins at level 90, and you never actually hit level 100 unless you're like a fucking complete degen, and you know. Level 90 kind of ends, and there's no more scaling beyond level 90, but you can get a few more Paragon points if you just level up. And now you can get there if you grind for like weeks and weeks. Let's say like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you could get to level 100. But it should be designed in such a way that, no, the game actually, the end game is truly begun, and you started at 90, and you get like a, you know, oh shit, that guy's level 93, that guy's big dick. Oh fuck, that guy's level 97. Whoa, this guy must have no job, bro. You know, like what the fuck? I literally don't even, and I think this is just, this whole system that he's describing right now is like, would literally make the game worse.
I want to go from level 99 and get to 1,000 and be like, wow, I can now get item power 1,000 items, and these are gonna have a chance at being better than anything I've ever seen before in this game. That's what we need.
No,
that keeps the hunt valid all the way to the end. And even then, at level 100, you could try and deck your character out in eye power 1,000 items. None of this other junk that they have going on here. I always try to provide a solution if I think that there's a problem with something, and I hope the solution made some sense to somebody.
It's a terrible solution.
I mean, they definitely need to fix the endgame chase.
If they did this, it would make the game objectively worse.
Somehow. This whole system could apply, and probably should apply, to Nightmare Dungeons as well, because they don't scale at all. Anyway, to challenge myself, I resorted to playing a Companion Spec Druid, which is the worst build in the entire game. Thanks for watching the video. Take care.
Yeah, I tried it. It was pretty bad. Yeah, there we go. Okay, anyway, guys. Yeah, epic. Yeah, I tried the Companion Spec Druid. Terrible. I'm not upvoting or downvoting his video, guys. Because to be fair, he was, you know, passionate or whatever, right? I'm not gonna fucking, you know, hate on him. I just think this idea is terrible.
Because he is God game.